Peace, y'all. Peace, y'all. Peace, y'all. The final AP Top 25 poll just dropped. Conference finals just wrapped up. And one question is starting to get louder across women's basketball. Is South Carolina's dynasty under pressure? Because Texas didn't just beat them in the SEC championship, y'all. They controlled the game from the opening tip. And if that results tell us anything heading into March Madness, is this: no team is safe. What up, y'all? It's your girl Naja Lee, and this is her core, her rules, the realest women's basketball breakdown on the net, and the only place where hoops meet higher perspective. Tonight, we're gonna break down the final AP Top 25 poll of the season. We're gonna recap some of the biggest finals games we just witnessed yesterday. And then we're going to ask ourselves some of the questions we all want to know. That is this: should the SEC be worried that there's a new sheriff in town? But before we hop into the poll, y'all, go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe, man. We on the road to 500 subbies. So go ahead and join the community, join the movement. Each and every episode is powered by Free Your Lens, man. Learn about the movement at freeyourlens.com, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Let's get into the poll. Let's get into the poll. Welcome back, man. If you new here, just pull up, hop into the chat. Tell me what team you rocking with. Tell me what team you think gonna cut down the nets this year. If you new here, if you true here, welcome back, man. Shout out to y'all. Joe Mama, welcome back. Good evening. Salute to you. Peace and freedom to you. You feel me? We just getting started. Y'all ain't missed a thing. We about to break down this top AP top 25 poll, the last one of the season. Because not only is it important, okay? We didn't have some movement. We didn't have some shakeups. Okay. Now we haven't seen much movement, if any at all, within our top 5 teams until this last poll of the season, y'all. First and foremost, shout out to Uconn. Finished the season undefeated. Their finals game is tonight, actually, but we already know how that's going to go down. So Uconn is going to absolutely finish this season undefeated, win their championship in the Big East, and probably march themselves all the way to the finals, right? To the championship game. That being said, shout out to them, but big salute to UCLA, because UCLA has started to put the pressure on the committee, right? UCLA say, hold on, I understand UConn is like that, but hold up though. We the other half of the like that. It's not just y'all. It's us too, right? Plus, we play in the Big Ten. And we blowing everybody out. I mean, everybody. UConn, y'all playing in the Big East. Your big ain't as big as mine. I mean, okay, so UCLA said we got something to talk about. We got an argument here for number one. 3 people in the committee said they do. I see your argument. I raise you 3. Shout out to UCLA. UCLA, yes, they are still ranked number 2, but UCLA got 3 first place votes. The first time any team this season has even taken 1 vote from UConn, let alone 3 of them things. Shout out to them, man. What's up? Okay, Louisville to the end where we meet Arizona, meet everyone in Arizona. We lose, we come back strong. We dangerous. We dangerous. You a Cardinals fan. That what you telling me? I like Louisville. They had a great game. That ACC championship was a great game. What up? Welcome back. Passing through Sports Talk Media. I see the family is starting to pull up to the reunion. Let's go. Now, boom. Big shout out to Texas. Now we're gonna give Texas their own slot in paying homage to what we saw in that SEC finals game a little later on in the episode in the live. So y'all just go ahead and stick around, because that's where the conversation is, and the narrative is starting to be painted around the SEC. Texas is really loud right now, letting us know, don't get too comfortable. Do not get too comfortable. Do not kick your feet up on us. We coming. And we want every single thing that's owed to us, that's due to us. I respect that. I'm a South Carolina, don't you know, in Dawn we trust. What are we talking about? However, I can't help but to look at what happened and then look at what happened, right? Again, over here, higher perspective. So a game just ain't a game to us, right? Y'all understand, y'all hop in the chat, y'all get the fellowship and with the people, right? Y'all hop in the chat, y'all understand that the energy in the live community, in our community over here on Her Core Her Rules, is always, what does this mean for real though? What does that statement game actually mean? We're gonna find out later on in the episode. Then next we got South Carolina. They you know what I mean? They failed. They tripped and failed, right? They scuffed their Tims. Okay? It cost them a lot too. It's about to cost them, we're gonna see, potentially, more than likely, when this top 16 reveal rolls out. This loss to Texas might even cost them road games, right? Road games in Sacramento, when they was gonna be kind of comfortable in Fort Wayne. Yikes. I don't know. We're gonna talk about it. Is that really gonna matter to them? They supposed to be well tested, right? Battle tested. They got veterans, right? They got seniors, they got juniors, they got sophomores, they got a team and a coach that's been there, done that, right? So is that gonna matter? We're gonna see. We're gonna find out. Shout out to LSU. Man. LSU, absolutely, you know what I mean? They LSU fell a little bit. It's okay. LSU lost to South Carolina. They were, including that game, 0-7 against South Carolina over the past 5 seasons. Y'all saw what Boosie Bad A said. He said, why we can't beat them, bro? What's going on here? Why we can't beat them, bro? Even Boosie said, now I done had enough. Now enough isn't the Kim. We gonna have to have a board meeting. Okay, come pull up to the Boosie Bad Ass residence. That's what they said. And I'm not mad at it, okay? I'm not mad at it. What up, Jeremy? Welcome back to Her Core, Her Rules. I told y'all the family pulling up to the reunion. Y'all go ahead. But listen, you could be family too. Okay, let there be one. Shout out to y'all, man. Listen, the games over this past weekend, not just the finals, but the semis as well. We can include some of the quarterfinal games, but most of them were blowouts, the quarters, right? We started to see the competition pick up in the semis. Once we got to the semis, even though we still saw some blowouts, we did see at least competitive first halves, and then we did see some really, really good, strong games. The South Carolina and LSU represents one of those games that was a really, really good game. I mean, again, at the edge of your seat from the beginning to the end of the game, right? And that's the type of game we want to see. The very opposite happened. The very opposite happened with South Carolina and Texas. That's not the kind of game that we want to see. I mean, I guess if you're a Texas fan, shout out to y'all. Okay, yeah, great game. Okay, pound that. Okay, but if you a South Carolina fan, come on, wait, what are we doing, bro? What are we doing? The NCAA committee can always change that, but after a great loss, Louisville always rise to the occasion. Everyone else better watch out. I think Louisville is still a dangerous team. I think some key players on that Louisville team, that they are picking up steam, and that can be problematic for everybody else in the tournament. Like when you have Miss Berry, okay? When Miss Berry is getting everything she want off, when she got the step backs, when she got the mid-range, right? When she get into the basket, and she make it real tough for you. That's coming off the bench. What? You feel me? So when you got it like that, you know what I mean? You can But Louisville just got to tighten up. They got to learn how to close out games. Texas did exactly what LSU fans wanted their squad to do to South Carolina. That's true. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. I'm gonna ask y'all a question right now. I'm gonna ask y'all a question right now since you brought that up. Since we brought up the fans. Did Texas expose something, or did they just have the perfect game at the perfect time? Did they just catch South Carolina slipping for real? What's the lick reading? I mean, y'all watched the game. I'm not the only one here that watched that game. Did Texas just give us the blueprint in beating Dawn in this year's South Carolina Gamecocks? Because we've seen sparks of what they've not sparks. We've seen moments, lapses in judgment, right? But again, we're gonna dedicate some time to Texas later because the defense was different. Texas is known for having great defense. True enough, right? But what we witnessed yesterday, that was something completely different. I said, oh, pressure? Sheesh. South Carolina lost to Texas is eerily similar to the championship game last year. They gonna exit stage left in the Final Four. Are you saying that, for clarity, are you saying that South Carolina is going to exit stage left or Texas? Which team, for clarity? I thought the Longhorns played a perfect 40 minutes of basketball. We hit South Carolina with the full court blitz, and they didn't know what to do. Welcome back to Her Core, Her Rules, Hooked and Booker. I knew you was going to pull up. Boy, I knew you were going to pull up today, boy. Shout out to you. Look. Absolutely right. How can I argue with that? We said though, like, okay, so it was certain things that they was gonna have to do, right? They was gonna have to dominate the paint. They were gonna have to execute well in the half court. There were certain things that Texas was gonna have to do at a high level. But damn, I didn't expect him to do it 40 minutes. All right. Passing thoughts. Be aware everyone's gunning for Gamecocks right now. Nothing new. That is nothing new, but I think the target on their back has definitely been, heightened, right? It's been illuminated. I think that yesterday, this game against Texas, I don't think we've ever seen South Carolina look that flawed. They looked regular yesterday. They looked like what they made Kentucky look like. Remember, Kentucky just looked like superstars the game before. Okay, then they get to South Carolina and they get bink bop boop bop boop bop, right? And then, South Carolina on the high. So I'm thinking, what I'm saying? My team, they just look what we made them. Okay, bet. I'm definitely thinking that, again, this game is going to go to deep in the fourth quarter, single digit win. It's going to be one of those games, just like we saw with South Carolina and LSU. I did not think, though, anybody who put money on Texas and put money on spreads, and y'all made a killing, because nobody in their right mind thought 17 points come out 14-0. Dawn don't have an answer. Usually Dawn got an answer for everything. Again, in Dawn we trust. We didn't get that. Out coach. We ever seen Dawn be out coached? Maybe with Gino, but not. That's it. That's it. It's Dawn and Gino, right? Vic Schaefer said, what the fuck? What, y'all better stop playing with me out here. You gotta stop doing that, ma'ams and sirs. The fact Texas beat South Carolina with only making 4 3-pointers should make South Carolina worried. There are teams that can hit 10 to 15 3-pointers. Welcome back to Her Core, Her Rules, Keontae. Well, and again, Keontae, a part of our stats guru club. I'm trying to tell y'all, he always got the facts, always got the stats, man. Listen, absolutely right. One of those teams is Uconn, right? One of those teams is UCLA. Hell, one of them teams could be LSU on a team that averaged 95 points a game. Absolutely. Absolutely, they can be a team that drop off 10 threes in a game. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, they've been having games where Richard is hot, Malaysia is hot, and then for Wiley, coldest ice box where my heart used to be cold. Okay, nothing coming from the paint, nothing coming from the bigs, right? So when you got three, and you got Michaela there too, but when you got 3 out of potential 6 people that can contribute to your offense, your high scoring, multi-dimensional offense, but the other 3 legs, they ain't pulling up to the party. We don't have the function that we playing for. We got a bust out. Nobody showed up. We by ourselves here. We bought all this pizza and chicken wings and everything, and we got drinks, and nobody pulled up to the birthday party. Okay. They hold on. Hooked and Booker said they got a promotion going on. Say who can guard Tessa. I thought you were pretty guardable yesterday. Yeah. Okay, let me go back to these chats. I'm missing some good stuff here. South Carolina point of attack defense runs through Raven and her only. Last year, they had Pow and Breezy to help with the perimeter defense. Texas exposed Tessa's defense throughout the game. Again, did Texas expose some weaknesses in South Carolina? South Carolina, this game showed that South Carolina can look regular. They can look like a anxious team at times. Usually we see them being very composed. South Carolina is in trouble. Texas is good. Huh. Welcome back, Ms. D. Welcome back. I was very shocked they came out flat. I was upset. We was over here at the start of the game, right? So we pre-gamed over here, and I wasn't even expecting to be over here at the tip of the game. But okay, let's kick it. Let's just see what's going on with the game. And I'm like, what is happening? So the chat is telling me, hey, it's 8-0, 8-0, it's 12-0, 12-0, it's 14. I said, what? All right, y'all, we got to wrap up this live here. I'm gonna have to go ahead. See what had happened was I'm going through a tunnel and my internet breaking up, and I got to go because what's going on here? So I had to see it with my own eyeballs, and my eyeballs were disgusted. They really were. But I think South Carolina has the harder bracket. We're going to take a look at it. Whoa, gosh. Ain't no telling what's going to happen. As an LSU fan, we drained Texas last year in the same round. Welcome back, Cool Runners. Welcome back to Her Core, Her Rules. Welcome back to Her Core, Her Rules. You're right. You're absolutely right. If we go back to November 27th, South Carolina struggled to where Texas kept it close, and Rory hit the game winner. Bingo. So are we saying that? Are we saying that? Hold on. Are we saying that Texas has always had South Carolina's number, but maybe South Carolina has had more talent to execute and keep that game close? Is that what we saying? And close out on a close game, like close the game out? Or is that what we saying? Because what we saw yesterday, it didn't look like varsity and varsity. It looked like varsity JV. Like one team had no business being here. And which that really confused me. Tessa got body bad by Booker and Rory. Now, we were talking yesterday. Y'all asked me who you think is going to be on Booker, and I said, well, I think it's going to be a combination of people. I don't think it's just going to be one person, but I do think Tessa's probably going to start out on her, and that can say a lot. That can set the tone, right? And obviously it did. Obviously it did. And then when you get other people in foul trouble, then you get turnovers, then you get poor shots, then you missing those, and then they get into the transition. What are we doing? They've been flawed, but we ready for the future. Vic was the one crying before the game, so he should be happy. Give Texas their props for the win, but they are beatable too. Absolutely. Again, one thing that's for certain in this year's college basketball is that really, truly, no team really is safe. Again, outside of UConn, and I put UConn out of respect in a league of their own, not only just because they haven't been as tested as the other teams, but also even the tests that they have had, they've executed, right? So I can't say like, oh, you've only had 4 tests, but you got 100% on 4 tests, so you don't pass the class. No, you absolutely pass with flying colors. Some people had to have more tests, right? So I can't knock them for that. But that being said, I think they are the by far. I mean, like, I think is the margin of separation between UConn and the others, I think, is wider than it's ever been in the most recent years, for real. I feel like we got to go back to like the Stewie years, where it's been like clear cut. You already know. Sit down, have a seat, pull up a chair. We're going to the Stewie show 4 years in a row. UConn. You feel me? Like, even when you had Paige, even like it didn't feel as, because you knew like you got Paige, but you got Juju, you got Paige, you got South Carolina Cookie, you got Paige, but you got, right? It just don't feel like the competition is with UConn it's not, I don't think it's out there for real, for real. Texas beat LSU in the semis. Yes, South Carolina bracket is pretty tough, being the 4th number 1 seed now. They have to play the best of the 2 seeds, 3 seeds, and 4 seeds now. That makes it very challenging. I mean, okay, we gonna get into some comments that Dawn made, but at the end of the day, like, pressure make diamonds, okay, or it's gonna crush you to smithereens. So what's gonna? It's only one of the 2 things that's gonna happen, right? Either you rise to the occasion or you fold. You know what I mean? This ain't rocket science. It ain't no gray area. Not in sports. Either you rise to it or you fold. The only gray area there is injuries, where you have the big what if questions. But shout out to both organizations is that we already know that, you know what I mean, everything is going to be well in the health department. Okay, so we are keeping these ladies with good positive energy around that way. That the only thing that's going to differentiate who is really her in this SEC and who is a poser in this SEC, or who is, you can have it next year, is going to be basketball. Who wins the games? Welcome back, Chicago Cheetah. At the end of the day, I can't be surprised about that. I picked Texas to win the conference when I saw the brackets, and they were the betting favorite because they had the easiest bracket. You're absolutely right. You hopped in the chat and you said Texas is gonna win. I said, man, get on up out of here with all that. Get on. But you was absolutely right. And the thing about being a fan, and being a super fan, like, obviously there's a level of bias where regardless of what the odds are stacked up against your team, you want your squad to win. And in that case, in yesterday's case, South Carolina and Texas, regardless of odds, like, I feel like the nation was torn. You feel me? I feel like the nation was torn because I feel like Texas represents a Cinderella story, and not in the sense that they are a one and done team, but in the sense that they are the team that has been overlooked all year round, but they have been the 2 or the 3 seed team all year round practically, right? And so when you have a team that's been that good, that reliable, that dependable, that consistent all season, what are we really talking about? Absolutely, we are the best team in the SEC. So I understand the the resistance between Texas fan bases, and South Carolina's fan base when it comes to both teams. Both fan bases have every right to feel that they are the best team, right? They have the best individual components, they have the best coach, they have the best trajectory, right? They have the best closeout ability, so many different layers. But yesterday, I think it proved that regardless, at the end of the day, you could feel like you're the best or whoever. It ain't safe. It ain't safe. It ain't though. Everybody get caught slipping. Ever since Tessa has that promotion, who can guard Tessa? She hasn't played well. See, y'all just said it again. Y'all just said it again about the who can play well. I mean, who can guard Tessa? Yep. Now, the question is what Miss D said. I want to see if Texas can play that flawless again, because it was a perfect game. Again, a perfect 40 minutes. That's not something we see out of basketball. I mean, we've seen it with other teams, right? But that's something we see with Texas usually. Not a perfect game. Okay? Everybody pulled up to the party. So, you feel me? I think it was interesting. Let's get back into this AP poll. So, we got South Carolina actually number 4. We got LSU 5 coming up a notch. Even though they took that L, doesn't matter. Vanderbilt losing, helped LSU out too. So, LSU made that top 5, and we knew that LSU was gonna crack that top 5 before the end of the season. So they ended the season at that 5th spot. And at this point, you can't even, if you're an LSU Tigers fan, like you can't even. This is the best scenario really that you can, root for. Then you got Vandy 6th seed. And Iowa crap. I thought Iowa was gonna go ahead and sneak in that 6th seed actually. But again, Iowa got beat pretty bad by UCLA. So there's that. This season, Texas has built a defense that can't compete with the South Carolina squad. Absolutely. And I think again that was the difference. That was the difference yesterday. Texas defense was outstanding out the gate. The pressure on the ball. I didn't think I was going to see Raven kind of be rattled in the beginning. I said, what's happening here? With Texas and South Carolina, it's a toss-up every game, and it just depends on who has the hot hand. True. Why do you think that Vic had the issue of playing LSU and then South Carolina back-to-back? I mean, I would have an issue with that. How the hell you got me playing 2 juggernauts back-to-back? Texas team exhausted by LSU team mentally and physically. We haven't been tested, but Gino prepares us for these moments. But we still got to handle business in the tournament. Yeah, you still got to handle business, right? Because again, these brackets, this ain't just your conference no more. So now it ain't comfortable no more. Now it's not comfortable anymore. Texas and South Carolina is a toss-up every time. Absolutely. Uconn have not been tested. I mean, very, very little, right? They had the Michigan game. Didn't they play Iowa this year? So they had very little tests. Not in little as far as competition, but little as in amount, frequency. So they just haven't had, enough teams. I feel like Uconn, they got to be able to play like 5, 6 ranked teams, at least play like 6. I think they played 7 ranked teams. I think, and they played Notre Dame, but Notre Dame wasn't ranked at the time. LSU versus South Carolina is always so personal. So much energy is given out by both teams. Exactly, and it's always going to be that. I think. Who y'all think is the biggest rival? South Carolina and LSU, or South Carolina and Texas? Biggest rival in the SEC, South Carolina and LSU, or South Carolina and Texas? What y'all think? Put it in the chat. Uconn is going back to the domination. I keep saying if Strong win this year, then she's winning 4 in a row like Stewie. Watch and see. Wait until y'all see who Uconn gets in the portal this year. And they see that's the interesting thing, man. The portal may just make it, you know what I mean? It make it like a little spicier. You feel me? Because you really don't know what your team is walking into next year. Like again, South Carolina got Tanaya Latson. That was not on my bingo card going into this season, right? When I saw the transfer, I said, what in the Sam Helly is going on here? You feel me? Didn't even know that Raven and Tanaya was besties, played in high school 4 years and together, won 3 state championships. Didn't know none of that. Right? So, you know what I mean? You don't, not only do you not know who's going to move around in the portal, you don't know the backstory. You don't know. Usually sometimes it kind of look like, oh, you just trying to win, but then it could be like a situation like Cody McMahon, like, nah, win, lose, or draw, I'm trying to position myself better for the WNBA. You feel me? So I can understand that. And I do appreciate your comment about if Sarah Strong win this year. I mean, it's going to be real difficult to knock Sarah Strong off. Right? Like, what? Come on. Michigan was our test. Yeah, Michigan, right. Michigan was the test. Booker only had 6 points the first half because Raven was on her. She came back in the second half to be good. We lost the first quarter, and that cost us the game because otherwise, the other 3 quarters we were neck and neck. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, again, it's how you start. It's how you start. So that first quarter is so important. Not only does it set the tone, right? You want to see what they working with. It's like boxing. Like you want to get in close enough, that first, second round, not to get hit, but you want to see what they've been working on in the training camp, right? You want to see what their combinations, what you think they timing looking like. Same thing with basketball, right? You want to come out strong in that first quarter, so you apply pressure and then you can figure out what their adjustments are going to be early. Right, so you can already kind of predict and control the game and the pace and the flow and everything else. Well, that happened to be what Texas did, in this case, and I thought it was going to be what South Carolina was going to do. But again, nobody is safe. Number eight, Duke. Number 8, Duke. Duke secured a back-to-back Ally ACC tournament title for the first time since 2010-2011. This is the Blue Devils' 10th ACC title. Shout out to the Blue Devils, man. Shout out to Duke. A hell of a comeback in overtime against Louisville, man. What a great game. I said, are they gonna do it? When I say it was back and forth, I called the game. I said, all right, Louisville gonna go ahead and pack it up. It's the fourth quarter. Okay, bet Louisville, they been a better team all season long. And then Duke picked up their stride, 15-0, But it's always been the conversation been Louisville or Duke, and it's been Louisville before it was Duke. Happens to be Duke now. Then Duke said, hold on, what is you talking about calling the game already for Louisville? We forced the overtime. Next thing you know, I blinked and Louisville had won. I said, what is happening today? Oh, boy. But look, though. I mean, Duke had won. But look, though, I'm not mad, though, because I said Duke going to mess around and win this game. Oh, yeah. Duke going to mess around and win this game. And I like what Louisville was doing. I ain't going to hold you. Hold on. I believe that South Carolina will redeem themselves if they are in the same region as UCLA. Then we will see a rematch between Uconn and South Carolina. Absolutely, we will. And I hope we do. I've been telling people that when we were hurt, just wait until we have a full, healthy team. No excuse. But playing 6 people in March is exhausting. Our Huskies is back to dominating. Hey, this is hilarious. Tessa guarded Tessa yesterday. She shut her own self down. To be fair, Texas has the most complete team, and Focus Texas is hard to beat as an LSU fan. Absolutely. I also love the fact that my Tigers finished being ranked in the top 5. We start in the top 5. Exactly. Again, start how you want to finish. You feel me? So, you know what I mean? Come out the year, start the year, top 5 rank, in the year, top 5 rank. Yeah, you had some divvies. Never dropped out of top 7, never dropped out of top 10. Always stayed right around the position you started in. And that's just execution down the line. You feel me? You winning big games, staying consistent, and never really allowing yourself to dig yourself in a hole that you can't get out of. It ain't nothing to trip and fall. It happens to the best of us, right? Don't happen to UConn that much, but they in the Big East. But in the SEC, it's gonna be very rare these days and moving forward where you go undefeated in the SEC now. It's not happening. It's not happening no more. I don't care how stacked and loaded your team is. There are 2, 3 other, 4 other SEC teams that's stacked and loaded too. You feel me? So that being said, 2, 3 losses a season, 4 or 5 losses, depending on how much competition is out there. It's like when you look at the NBA, you look at what's going on over in the West versus what's going on in the East, right? In the West, you're gonna have your 4, 5, 6, 7 seeds that's gonna have a lot more losses, you know what I mean, or a lot more opportunities for losses than your Eastern teams because the competition is just greater. You know what I mean? So shout out to the SEC in general, man. The SEC, you know what I mean? They have expressed in multiple ways that they are the best conference. They have 8 teams in the top 25. 8 teams in the top 25. The Big 10 has 7 teams in the top 25. Okay? And the Big 12 and the ACC both have 4, right? So again, Ivy League, you know what I mean? Princeton holding it down with the 1, you know, representing their entire conference, just as UConn with the Big East representing their entire conference. You feel me? I think it's been a hell of a ride this season, though. I'm not gonna hold you. Been a lot of ups and downs, but it's been great basketball. Absolutely great basketball. Michigan ranked number 9. You know, they probably wanted to close out a little better than they did, but that's okay. They're still a top 10 team, and I bet you we didn't nobody expect that going into the season. I know for sure I did not. I would have put TCU over Michigan if I would have, you know, just reading, you know, looking at the teams, looking at the Rolodex going into the season. I would have said, okay, Louisville or TCU over Michigan in the top 10. But shout out to Michigan, and shout out to the Big 10 in general. I think you know they've been proving that we here to stay. We here to stay. I think the dismantling or whatever happened with the Pac-12, I think that kind of merging in with the Big 10. At first, I didn't really like it, but I think that this is the best thing that could have happened to competition in women's basketball. You know what I mean? And now competition is so spread out that you don't have to be just centered in the SEC to get, you know, top tier competition. Now you know you can get it in the Big 10. You got a couple hitters in the Big 12, right? So, you know what I mean? Shout out to the Big 12. Shout out to the Big 12. Let's get through this top 10, top 25. Let me get to some of these comments. Texas fan base culture doesn't look at South Carolina as rivals. Oklahoma and A&M are their only rivals. Oh, okay. Thanks for that information. I mean, I guess as a South Carolina fan, I guess Texas would be a rival, but a bigger rival than LSU, but I guess not. South Carolina LSU is an exciting matchup. It's not a rivalry though. Texas versus South Carolina is a rivalry because they have wins against each other. LSU is our pet that gets dog walked. Yowza! Welcome to Her Rules, Vernon Kelly with the spicy icy. I'm not mad at it though. Go ahead, talk spicy to him one time. UCLA remind me of the Avengers. They have 6 to 7 seniors, all projected to be drafted. They won't win this year, so it will be a big disappointment, but this year is their only shot. And you know, little sister, big sister, wake up next year, USC. So they know it really is. You feel me? It really is. UCLA team last year was better than this year, and we beat them by 33 points. God goodness, I forgot about that. We play UCLA, it's going to be even worse. We gave them last season. Yowza. I forgot they beat them bad like that. But that's the thing. See, you can't make everybody look, I don't want to say amateur because that's going to sound disrespectful. So I don't want to be disrespectful to the competition. But what I always say about Geno is Geno, not only does he execute at a high level, Geno is short for genius, right? We all know that. But Gino, for whatever you do well, Gino can neutralize it. He can scheme up whatever is necessary to neutralize the very thing you do well. And then your counter move to his neutralization, he can counter that. So it's like a guy when you playing spades that got the joker, deuce, ace, king, queen, jack, right? Then they got the ace of diamonds, ace of hearts, king of hearts, king of diamonds. It's like, what you doing with that, bro? Just gonna throw it in. Throw it in. There ain't nothing I can do. I'm think I got some. I think, oh, you dealt me. I only got 2 diamonds. I'm about to go crazy on them. I ain't got nothing. I'm getting smoked. That's Gino out here playing with 8 spades, 3 aces. You feel me? 3 kings. That's what Gino doing out here. Okay. Kim Mulkey really doesn't complain. We're placed either. Exactly. She ain't complaining about that top 5. Kim just wants to host at home. Exactly. That's it. Uconn, no limit. Welcome to her core, her rules. B Beckham, absolutely. Uconn, I think they going all the way, and I think they going all the way undefeated. Again, I don't think nothing. And again, I'm a Gamecocks fan, but it is what it is. Texas women's basketball need to be tested for performance enhancing drugs, because I don't know how they made it out of these last couple games. Not gonna hold you. Not even gonna hold you. Not even gonna hold you. When you bully Betts, hold on, let me get to this. Interesting. When you bully Betts and make her move from under the basket, she can't play. That's a similar critique to we heard from about another big in the tournament in a different conference though. If she not close to the basket, it limits her as being a threat. The thing about Lauren Betts is this though. Because she still has the mid-range shot, you still gotta apply pressure. Because Lauren Betts can still pass, you have to apply pressure. You can't not just let her just give all the room and pick you apart, because guess what? She'd take that dribble right on in there. Oh, you want to give me space? All right, bet. I'll just come on in there and get the contact. So let me get to this. Welcome back to her core, her rules. Texas still has me in shock. What the was that? I don't know. Hot take: Vic Schaefer's Longhorns will win the Natty against Uconn this year. Hot take: Pharaoh. What? Welcome to her, back to her core, her rules. You got Texas beating Uconn in the finals. South Carolina isn't beating Uconn. Y'all delusional. Shook. I am shook with ya. Shout out to Oklahoma. Shout out to Oklahoma top 10. Oklahoma top 10. Again, Oklahoma has been pretty steady all year round. Yeah, they had some ups and downs, but they've been pretty consistent and being a top 10 team. I think other teams, again, that I would have put over them to start the season, but still, shout out to Oklahoma. Finished the season at 24-7. And then they beat LSU in the quarterfinals by 34 points. Yowza. Shout out to Ohio State, Buckeye Nation. Finished the season at 26-7. Jelani Cambridge recorded her 27th 15-point game this season, which was the most in Big Ten and in Ohio State's conference tournament matchup against Minnesota, man. She also led the Big Ten with 23 points this season, 23 points per game this season. I mean, Cambridge is a beast. Her sister is good too. I think that Ohio State is in good hands moving forward. They got to get a big. They got to get another shooter too. I like Chase. They got to get another shooter though, but I think Ohio State is in good hands. I really do. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of my kids, man. I'm proud of my dogs. Shout out to my dogs. South Carolina can beat UConn. It's possible. Okay. South Carolina not ducking. Remember, it's Gino who didn't want to play this year. Smoke. We all know who won't be in the Final Four. Ooh, Bluka. As a UConn fan, UCLA and Texas doesn't matter. No competition. I mean, I'm kind of impartial to that part. Like, I just feel like UConn really like that. UConn's defense and discipline is better than Texas. Can y'all hear me? Can everybody hear me? Lost my audio. Can everybody hear me? Let me know in the chat if everybody can hear me. Let me know in the chat if everybody can hear me. Let me know in the chat if everybody can hear me. Okay, bet. We got one confirmation. Why don't you just try to refresh on your end, Shamika? And it's probably just a technical thing. Yeah, so we definitely didn't expect that. Definitely didn't expect that, man. But another thing that we didn't expect, man, y'all know y'all watch the West Virginia and TCU game, the West Virginia TCU game, you know what I mean? I definitely did not expect TCU to lose that game. I think everybody in the chat, when we did a poll, everybody in the chat had TCU winning that game, man. So it was very interesting to see them not. Olivia didn't have her best game, and one would think that she would have one of her best games at that moment, and she didn't. So that being said, man, shout out to West Virginia, not only cracking that top 15, finishing the season being that 12th slot for the top 25, but they also finished the season being Big 12 champions, man. Shout out to West Virginia. I was pleasantly surprised to see West Virginia win, man. Likewise, you called it. West Virginia on the rise. Come on. They cooking, man. And again, I feel like Quinterly, man, last year, that generation of West Virginia Wolverines, I think they really set the tone. So coming into this season, yeah, we had high expectations, but again, I feel like we still was still a lot of love, like a lot of grace, and they earned everything that we wasn't giving them. They earned even more than that. So again, respect is earned, not given, and they definitely earn every bit of respect from me, and I think from throughout the country, man. I think everybody is looking at West Virginia to be a sleeper team in March Madness. Nobody is safe. I thought TCU would win, but I said West Virginia a sleeper team. That's exactly what you said, passing through Sports Talk Media. Said that in the chat, and I couldn't deny, but I was like, okay, well, you know what I mean? Shout out to West Virginia. We got one person already root for them to be a sleeper team. And I think they put everybody on notice. I think they put everybody on notice in that game. So I was impressed. I was thoroughly impressed. All right, so speaking of, what I'm saying, a team that we thought was gonna win, like Louisville, I think it could have went, either way between Louisville and Duke, but Louisville has lost their last 4 ACC championship games since winning their last one in 2018. Louisville has had a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but mainly Louisville has been disappointing this season. They were really good, but again, 7 losses, you can't be that mad at them. But it's how you fumble the bag that matters. Like, it's not being able to close these close games. Like, what are we doing? Cool Running said West Virginia came out of nowhere this year. Absolutely nowhere. I had no expectations of them, but I figured if they were good, it would make sense, just based on, like, usually when you get somebody from your team into the WNBA, that's usually not the last good person you're going to see. Usually there's a pipeline. Now you done figure out, now we know what to scout. We know what the team need. We know what the crowd like. We know the identity of this team. So when Quinterly go to the WNBA, I'm like, I know they got something else in the pipeline. I just don't know who that is. I just don't know, what this team's potential is, because I didn't watch a whole lot of them when JJ was there. That being said, boy, over my head, Joke's on me. Geno made room for Michigan, Iowa, Ohio, Tennessee, had no room for South Carolina. Please. Yowza. As a UConn fan, LSU and Texas are David teams we all know and seeing they can take down giants. Great comment. I like that, BB Bickham. Or B Bickham. Crump would be Texas's X factor against UConn. She's a big guard. She is. And Crump has been very exciting to watch in these the semis and the finals, man. I think she's very impressive. I think she's kind of sneaky good. Had my eyes on West Virginia ever since they beat Duke with 6 players. Now come on. What we do? Where are they doing that at? Where are they doing that? While y'all here, make sure y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe, man. Get into the comment section, get into the live chat. You know what I'm saying? Where all your voices, all your opinions are valid over here. You feel me? A lot of these games are contracted, just like UConn and South Carolina signing the 1-and-1 deal starting next year. UConn and Duke signed a deal to play 3 games in a row. Vandy and UConn signed 2. Shout out to Keontae. That's great information right there. So then we got Louisville ranked 13 and TCU ranked 14. Anybody mad at this right here, that 11 through 14? I feel like I'm pretty good with that. Like no movement with Ohio State, right? West Virginia deserved to be 12, if not 11, because they won their conference. Louisville and TCU, I think that's fair. TCU was held to under 60 points for the 3rd time this season. All 3 games have been against West Virginia. Wow, that is not coincidental. That was not coincidental. Texas shot over 50% against South Carolina, while South Carolina missed 11 free throws. And Texas only won by 17, with South Carolina shooting 40%. Vernon Kelly said, I got some stats for you, because let's not gaslight what Texas did, y'all. South Carolina just played poorly. That's an important take too. That right there is the question again, the underlying question. Do we think that Texas exposed something, or really do we think that South Carolina was just, they caught South Carolina slipping? Players F up. Sometimes people trip and fall. Sometimes we underestimate what they have for us. You feel me? One of the rules, the laws in the art of the world is knowing your enemies. Sometimes you overplay your hand. Sometimes you think you got them 6 spades and you think you can force 5 books. You walked around, you ain't know your person right across from you, right behind you, had 7 too. Right? You ain't know that they was cutting earlier. Right? So again, did Texas prove something? I don't know. Did they prove something? I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. Shout out to North Carolina, man, cracking that top 15. North Carolina, man, North Carolina really had to fight this season to be in the conversation. And yeah, although they lost to Louisville in the semifinals, I think that they had an impressive season all year round. Especially without, like, they really don't have a star on that team, right? They do it by committee. So I'm not mad at that. Shout out to North Carolina. New sub, welcome. We got a Tiger fan in the house. Okay, we got another LSU fan in the house. That's what's up. Welcome to the family reunion, man. This is Her Court, Her Rules, man. Appreciate everybody for pulling up, hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, and getting into the chat. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad what North Carolina did, or where the committee got North Carolina and Kentucky. I'm not mad at any of these. Maryland didn't do what we thought Maryland was gonna do. Upset, with the Oregon game. That's definitely not something that I expected. I think 80% of the chat had Maryland winning. I think we all said Terps winning that. They didn't do that. So that really cost them being at top 15 team. And we got to see how much is going to affect them in March Madness. Is it going to be a lot? I don't know. We going to see. Let's see how it affects them in this top 16 reveal. I think that part is more important than anything else right now. That being said, man, Minnesota looked good in the tournament. Minnesota has been sneaky good all year round though. Had to really fight to make that top 25, but when they made it, they stayed. When they made it, they climbed. Right. And that's the makings of a sleeper team, another sleeper team. Big Ten is a conference full of sleeper teams. Outside of UCLA, everybody else in the Big Ten sleeper teams. Again, we know that Big Ten got the second most teams in the top 25, but the sleeper teams are teams that can knock off the top 10 teams, right? The top 5 teams. And I think Big Ten consists of a lot of great teams, but not a lot of them can knock off the best of the best. That being said, nobody is safe. So all you got to do is get there. All you got to do is be around greatness, right? And then weird things can happen, especially in March Madness. We couldn't afford to drop that Oregon game. Absolutely not. And it definitely shocked me. You want to beat South Carolina, you control the head of the snake, Raven. South Carolina goes as well as Raven does. She's the floor general and the best defender. Raven's stat line: 9 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 turnovers. Whew. That was crazy. And like he's saying, when you look at that in comparison to what she did against LSU, it's really night and day. It's absolutely night and day. Texas knew the enemy devices and took advantage of it. I think they knew what, just like Keontae said, cut the head off by the snake, right? And let the other people figure it out, right? Force Joyce to be the one. We know Tessa can take over games, but Tennessee did something interesting. They frustrated Raven, and then removed Tessa off the board. So they did 2 things, right? If this was a dual-headed snake, it would be Raven and Tessa. Texas managed to eliminate both of them as threats and said, we're going to make you beat us with your bigs. We gonna force y'all to try to beat us in the paint, and y'all said that y'all strength was y'all bigs. We was over here talking about it yesterday, right? We were saying what do we think South Carolina's strengths are when we actually break down the player profiles? We think that they're a bigger team, a stronger team. They have more depth when it comes to bigs. Texas said, I don't care what y'all think. We're going to show you that we can dominate in the paint where y'all should be dominating that. I definitely thought that South Carolina was going to have the upper hand when it comes to paint presence. And that wasn't the case. Just like I'm glad Passing Through went there. We need Joyce to drop one of them 30-point games. She is their number 1 scoring option. Absolutely. And it seems to me, y'all, we gotta talk. We gotta get to this game breakdown. All right, hold on. Ole Miss, even with the loss, Ole Miss, they got promoted 5 spots. Finished the season top 19 team. I'm very proud of Ole Miss. I mean, they are a one-dimensional team when it comes to offense, but they have a deadly defense, right? And they just have a will and a desire to stay in the game and not quit on themselves. And Ole Miss, even though they've struggled at moments in this season, I think that they've impressed us. They've impressed me for sure, because you know what I mean, outside of Cody, you'd be like, where's Waldo? You feel me? So I'm proud of them. I'm definitely proud of them. Raven is a South Carolina leader. Why did I say it like that? South Carolina. Where am I from? South Carolina. Dawn should have ran plays for Tanaya for sure. Okay. In war, In war, what do you get rid of? The leadership. Control Raven, and it's a tough night for South Carolina. UConn struggles sometimes when KK and Heckle be out of control, turning the ball over. Floor general. And the difference between UConn is that if their guards are becoming flustered, they can turn it over to Sarah Strong. And now she's the floor general. Now everything is running through her. Nobody else has that luxury. Nobody else has a big that can. Now we saw, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I saw Syracuse with Uche bringing the ball down like shit. Get out the way. Get out of here. I'm doing this. And I said, what is happening right now? Right, but there's not a lot of bigs that got guard like handles coming down, setting up, telling people what to do. Got the jumper, got the 3-point, can get to the basket, can get to the free throw line, got her mid range, got footwork, got finish, got touch, got everything. Plus she can pass. Come on, man. I have to be honest. Raven is a great point guard. I think the latter of this season, especially February, showed us that Raven is a top 10 draft pick, absolutely. And Raven quite possibly is the best point guard in the SEC, if not hands down the best point guard in the SEC. Raven is the South Carolina's heart, soul, and energy and leaders. Control her. It's a tough night for South Carolina, absolutely. Coach Yo and Cotty, that's all they got. South Carolina's fine. They had a great season. They just have no gas. I'm out of audio. What's happening? Y'all got me? So we got, after Ole Miss, we got Michigan State. Michigan State, they had a couple tough losses towards the end of their season, but that's okay. That's okay. Michigan State, I still think audio's good. Okay, cool. I still think Michigan State excelled and exceeded our expectations for real. I'm not gonna hold you. I know they probably upset that they didn't finish in that top 15. They kind of were around that all year round. But again, to be in the conversation and still be a sleeper, still be known as a bona fide threat, not just in the Big Ten, but in March Madness. Everybody know that Michigan State is not a team that you can sleep on. Everybody know that they got hitters. They got some hitters, right? They got sleepers. So, Michigan State, shout out to them. Great season. Great season for Michigan State. Finished off with 22-8. Baylor, a surprising team this year, right? I can't even name one person on Baylor's team. I'm not gonna lie to y'all today. Not gonna do that. I cannot even name you a person on Baylor's team. What I do know is that the games that I have watched, the thing that impresses me most is their unwillingness to quit on themselves, but more importantly, their defense. They just a gritty team. They don't really care. They can foul you sometimes. They don't really care about the hard fouls. I like a team that understand when you pull up in my paint, you gonna feel us. It just is what it is. Ain't nothing easy. You think you're just gonna do what you want to do? No. Jersey Robinson will replace Raven Johnson. Different positions though. They still gonna need to fill that void. I don't think it's gonna be no McDaniel. I'm not gonna hold you. Sarah Strong basketball IQ is phenomenal. It's up there. She's already for real. Sarah Strong, not only could she be drafted this year, Sarah Strong could have been in the WNBA about 3 years ago. That mentally, that's how well she plays. I just don't see her effing up. I don't see her get flustered. I see her taking her time with everything that she does. She does everything at her own speed. Baylor is a team of role players. That's exactly why I don't know nobody's name. And a shout out to the role players. You know what I mean? Everybody got a job to do. You know what I'm saying? Execute. But I don't know who they are. Baylor was on a 12-game winning streak versus unranked opponents when it was snapped in the Big 12 tournament quarterfinal upset against Colorado. Right? Again, we didn't see a lot of drama with our big teams, our top 10 teams. Didn't see a lot of drama in the tournaments era until the semis. Really, that's when we really started to see the energy shift with our big teams. But the other teams, right, the lower half of that top 25, they was kind of popping in the quarters. They was popping in the quarters, and one of the first upsets we saw was Baylor and Colorado. I think, or could have been split, but I know most of us had Baylor. UConn don't play anyone. No, we gonna keep saying it. They really don't. They really don't. You know what I mean? But at this point, what can we say? What can we say? Welcome back to the top 25. It's been a long time. Notre Dame, been a long time. Um, welcome back, man. It's been a tough season for Notre Dame, man, and they've been really riding. They really been riding the superstar, you know what I mean, heroics and leadership of Hannah Hidalgo, who has scored at least 24 points in their last 7 games. I mean, she's just been undeniably impeccable, bro. She does everything. There was a series in the last game, bro, when she was literally on the ball, poked the ball out, the ball was passed, went and deflected that. They rotated the ball. She moved off her man, was playing free safety. I mean, Noelle has incredible confidence in Hannah Hidalgo to the point where I'll be like, maybe you want to kind of like reel her in a little bit just so she can conserve some of her energy, because you can kind of tell that she was just spent. She was spent, and she one thing about Hannah is you ain't got to ask Hannah to leave it all on the court. She gonna leave it all on the court every game. So I appreciate that about her, man. Shout out to her. Shout out to Notre Dame. Shout out to Cassandra Prosper. Like, shout out to them just in general. Well fought team, and they had a tough season, but they still made that top 25. You feel me? With losing 2 key players, which is crazy. Not just key players, like phenomenal players as Notre Dame history goes. Also, shout out to Princeton. Shout out to Princeton. Finished in that top 25. Georgia and Texas Tech also finished in that top 25. I thought Texas Tech was almost, they was, you know what I'm saying? They was one French fry away from being out of there. But they made it. Shout out to Texas Tech, man. It's unfortunate that Alabama got knocked out. That's unfortunate. You know what I mean? They had kind of been in there all season. Well, not all season, but when they got in there, they, you know what I mean, they stayed in there for a minute. So it was kind of unfortunate to not see them. Fairfield had just made it the week prior. But at the end of the day, man, it's hard to be in that top 25, especially when the season concludes. And you know what I mean? You know, here we are. Some teams made it, some teams didn't. You feel me? Some teams didn't. You feel me? We got right now, this was the previous top 16 reveal, the previous top 16 reveal. And again, some things are going to change, absolutely, because of the tournament and because of key losses. Texas beating South Carolina again. The assumption is that Texas is going to move to that Fort Worth bracket. South Carolina is going to move to that Sacramento bracket. It kind of bodes well for South Carolina to kind of be in that Sacramento bracket. I mean, either way, I got South Carolina over both of them. I think the biggest opposition in both brackets would be Iowa for Sacramento and Michigan for Fort Worth. I think either team, though, you know, whether you're South Carolina in either bracket or Texas in either bracket, I got them clearly coming out of that bracket. But again, no team is safe and anybody can be upset. You feel me? Hold on. Princeton is not good to me. They don't even deserve votes. I mean, for real, I can't say whether Princeton good or not, because again, I ain't got no dog in a race. I ain't watched one game. I ain't watched 1 minute, one bounce of that basketball of Princeton this season. But shout out to them. You know what I mean? For whatever that means. So here we are. Again, the top 16. Again, some things are going to change. We had a loss to Maryland. We had a loss we had a win for Minnesota. We had a loss for TCU. We had a loss for Louisville. So we got some things that's moving around here. But the one thing that's consistent is UConn number 1, UCLA number 1. That's the 2 things that's most consistent this season. And I don't think that we can deny that. I don't think that we can deny that. Well, one thing that we have to ask, though, the one thing that we have to ask is, Do the Gamecocks still run this SEC? Do the Gamecocks still run this SEC? Or did Texas just take the crown? That's the question. That's the question I'm asking, because if the one team that's had South Carolina's number all year round for real, and not just this year but last year too, it's just been a game here. It's been some things that we've seen when South Carolina plays Texas that it makes you say, what, huh. South Carolina looked damn good against everybody for real in the South in the SEC. But did Texas just shift and say, I need parts of the table though. I need parts of the table. UConn forever and Natty number 13 coming soon. Domination. Let's go Huskies. UConn forever. We got a lot of UConn fans in the chat tonight. I'm not mad at that though. Shout out to UConn. Shout out to UConn. I mean, Gino got one heck of a dynasty. You feel me? Gino got one heck of a dynasty, right? We know that Dawn has a dynasty as well. And I don't want to be dramatic. Obviously, this is not to stir the pot, but this is a legitimate question. Because when we look at the state of college basketball and women's basketball right now, in the SEC, it looked pretty clear, right? Almost as definitive as UConn looks in the Big East. It looked just like that for South Carolina in the SEC. However, we've seen South Carolina fall multiple times this season. So the question is the dynasty over? They had won 3 SEC titles in a row. South Carolina plays white light teams weak. Check their history. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules. And he pulled up with a bang. Boom! I am great now, 7218. South Carolina is still reigns in the SEC, but Texas put a chink in their armor. Texas took the crown. No Raven, Tanaya, or Medina next year. They still got Booker. They got it until Booker is gone. He said Texas took the crown. We know what South Carolina team will look like in the next 5 years. What is Texas or LSU going to look like? No, Texas is the new sheriff in town. So right now it looked like the chat is kind of split. The chat, I got one half of the chat that feel like South Carolina is still that. They still set the standard for the SEC. I got another half of the chat that's split, that's saying like, hold on. Not only we looking at what Texas has done this season, but we're also looking into the future, and we're looking at South Carolina. Everything that makes them great is leaving. How they gonna replenish all of that in one season? That's a bar. I wasn't even trying to rhyme. Booker is the number 2 player in the country, and she's returning next year, y'all. Roderick Edwards, thank you for your comment. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules. Once you win in your conference, win your conference championship, then you hold the crown and the trophy until South Carolina come back and try to take it next year. Now that's respect, and that's really what it is. Once you become the champ, you can't regain that title as the champ unless you dethrone me. You got to come to my house, take my trophy, take your shoes off, put your feet on my couch, go in my refrigerator, make you something to eat. That's how that works. You gotta chill. Booker ain't better than Hannah or Juju. Nah, that's true. Nah, I will agree with that. LSU fan Gary Reedus is leaving. Our recruiting would be a question mark. Is he? Wow. Welcome to Her core, her rules. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules. I am great now. Uconn is the king. What are y'all talking about? B Bigum, y'all can keep going back and forth with the South Carolina and the Uconn this and the this, that, and the South Carolina, Texas, this, that, and the. It's Uconn for me. It's not about the dynasty being over or not. It's Uconn for me. But hold on, we gotta have a conversation though. We gotta have a conversation. We gotta have a conversation. Because again, it's parts of me, even though I'm a huge, again, a South Carolina fan, it's parts of me that do kind of lean towards a little bit, just a little bit, that Texas might be not here to make a today statement, but a tomorrow statement as well. It's a part of me that believes that, right? Not that they just exposed a little chink in South Carolina's armor, but they also revealed that they have a team built for tomorrow as well. Okay. And I'm excited about what I see from Texas. I'm excited about what I see from Texas moving into March Madness as well. Irregardless of what bracket where they end up, whether it's Fort Worth, and we know they're gonna be in Fort Worth now. So whether it's Fort Worth or Sacramento, we know it's Texas. It doesn't matter really at this point. I think I'm going into March Madness more confident in Texas than I was prior to this perfect game that they played against South Carolina. Because if ever you needed a time to play a perfect game, that was the time. That was the time. So talk about rising to the occasion. Usually we see fumbling of the bags. We didn't see that this time. We didn't see that this time. Shamika said, I don't know if Mulkey will keep her roster from this year. I don't know either. I think change gonna come. Did y'all hear the end of the game presser with Mulkey and Rashard and Full Wiley? Did y'all listen to the end of the game presser, post game presser? I just feel like Kim ain't confident. I don't think she confident in this group. She said she was making comments about the standard being Uconn, but the standard for greatness in the SEC is South Carolina. And she was saying that she don't think that her team can be resilient enough at the end of the game. She said, I don't know why we didn't trap at the end and then quickly foul if we couldn't get the trap. I don't know. To hear your coach say, I don't know why we didn't execute. It's in a shock to you as your team, the leaders on the team. What do you mean? I don't know why we didn't execute. Why didn't we execute, y'all? Why did we fold? Again, it's only two things you can do in the moment: rise to the occasion or fold. That's it. No gray area. This is sports. This ain't theory. This ain't philosophy, right? This is not the great debaters. This is sports, black and white. Don't get no more black and white than this unless we talking about games being rigged. But that being said, let me get to these comments. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules. Many. What about Michaela Blake's being the number 2 player? Well, I think Michaela Blake's by far is the best 1v1 player in the SEC. Can definitely be the number 1 or number 2 player in the whole league outside of Sarah Strong, right? I think Michaela Blake's is just like that. I think Michaela Blake's probably need to get in that transfer portal. I like Vanderbilt though. I like Vanderbilt being a strong team and provide some diversity in competition in the SEC. But I think Michaela need to go team up with Jersey. I'm just saying. Vic Schaefer exposed Kim Mulkey as a weak coach. I mean, for real, who ain't exposed Mulkey at least once? I feel like everybody get a chance to expose Mulkey. You feel me? South Carolina is still SEC champs. Texas won a tournament, so South Carolina still has the crown and SEC champ trophy. Oh yeah, that's true that because they did have the best record. They have won the season just through record alone. Shout out to you. Shout out to Welcome to Her Core Her Rules. Welcome to Her Core Her Rules. Miss Grace. LSU had the team in 2024, but they allowed Clark to hit 9 threes to beat him. That right there? Yeah. 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 LSU really had that was really a time. That those Angel Reese years, that was a time. Okay, to be a LSU fan. I don't think I missed many. I might have missed a handful of games when Angel Reese was over there. I ain't gonna hold you. I was pulling up for everything. It was just a show. It was a show until they met Caitlin. You know what I mean? They got their look back though. They got their look back. Kim and Bob Starkey are trash. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh yeah, Blake is third behind Sarah and Juju. I'm interested to see what Juju gonna look like when she come back, because it looked like her body typed and slimmed down a little bit. So if that means that she got a little bit quicker, a little bit more agile, or a little bit more like flexible or whatever, like that's gonna be even more scary. It might get dark, okay, for the Big Ten. I have no beef with LSU, South Carolina, UCLA, and Texas, or any other teams we have to click into. Reality change has come. Things do not stay the same. Absolutely. Again, there's a new sheriff in town, I think, in the SEC. And as much as I love the Gamecocks, I think the Texas right now, especially about what they just did, I think they just showed a lot. That being said, Vic, from the words of Vic, he said, I couldn't be more proud of a group of ladies on this team to do what they did in this environment against this South Carolina team. It was really impressive. They were laser focused. I had some kids that were here on a mission, and that mission looked absolutely clear from the absolute beginning of the game. We talk about all the time about knowing what your coach wants you to do and understanding the assignment. And the Texas ladies came out there and they completely dominated the game. Matter of fact, hold on, let me pull this up on the screen. Because again, I told y'all I was going to dedicate some time to Texas and really like give them their flowers for real, because I it's not anything that I was expecting. I didn't expect this. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I didn't expect this. Look at the game. First quarter, 27-12, complete domination. But again, I'm going to go to the play-by-play, because the play-by-play shows us a little something different. It shows us a little something different. Okay? Shows us a little something different. I'm going to go to the play-by-play first quarter. Let's go, because I think it's important to see exactly how nasty, filthy, nasty this game started out. First and foremost, out the gate. Shout out to Bria Cunningham. You know what I'm saying? Expressing some interest in dominating the paint yesterday. Start the game off hitting the quick little layup. Boom. Okay, from assist from Carlton. Carlton was active early in the game. Shout out to Carlton too. Okay. Raven Johnson, offensive foul, which is a turnover. This is the first possession of the game. Offensive foul. Okay, turnover. Right? Boom. Then a conversion on that turnover. Rory Harmon hit the paint in the jumper. I mean, a jumper in the paint. Okay, jumper in the paint. Boom. Then you got bad shot. We don't need the first shot attempt from Joyce Edwards to be a 3-point shot. That's not the offense that we are trying to execute early in the game. We need Joyce to get to her sweet spots, and those are normally those little touch shots, those shorter jump shots, 15-footers and less. Get closer to the basket. That's the more dominant Joyce Edwards is going to be. Not 3-point, especially not the first shot in the game. Okay, missed that shot. Defensive rebound by Booker. Boom, take it down the court. Now you got Carlton, who just had to assist on the first a bucket of the game. Now she got the quick bucket in the paint. The very next possession, right? There's another turnover by Raven Johnson. So the first two possessions of the game, your point guard, your star, your senior, the person who's supposed to lead the troops, not just leading in pace, leading in defense, leading in IQ, leading everything. First two possessions of the game, we got a turnover. Okay. Then we get what happened? Carlton again, active early, active with an assist, come down on the next possession, score, come down on defense, the very next possession, pick her pockets. Now, what happens again? She scores on a fast break layup. Carlton all over the place. Now, the very next possession, y'all, we can't make this up. Bad pass by Joyce Edwards. So we had a bad shot attempt in the beginning of the game. First shot in the game, 3-pointer. You count that as a turnover. Count that as a turnover. That ain't what we want. Her next time she touched the ball, bad pass, turnover. Who steals the ball? Pick her pockets. Booker. You feel me? Then what happens? Booker scores. Booker assists off the steal to Jordan Lee. Now we got how many people involved in this offense early in the game for Texas? Cunningham, Carlton, Booker, Rory, Jordan Lee. We got the whole starting five involved in this offense, whether it's assisting on the pass, or scoring off the assist. Right? That's a 10-0 run right there. That's 10-0 run. What we do, Joyce Edwards come right back down, another turnover. What are we doing? That's 12-0 run. They score off that again. Another assist from Carlton. Carlton got 2 assists. We 3 minutes in the game. Booker, who just assisted Carlton on the last one, or Jordan Lee on the last one, get the assist from Carlton. And again, all 5 starters for Texas is involved in the offense. And isn't that what you need from Texas? You got Rory involved. You got Jordan involved. You got Carlton. You got Cunningham involved early. Then to round out when to finally force Dawn to blow that timeout whistle. You got Rory Harmon. Assist. Another assist to Carlton. What are we doing? Let's call a timeout. We have to call a timeout and regroup. Texas deserve it. They came out to play yesterday. Absolutely. We just deep dive the first 14 points. Now, why Dawn ain't call a timeout at an 8-0 run, I don't know. 10-0 run, I don't know. She wait till they ran on 14. Everybody has flaws. No team is safe. Yes, Texas showed us that South Carolina ain't perfect. Yes, they showed us, we might got their number. South Carolina plays as a team, and LSU's plays as individuals. That is their downfall. When they realize to play as a team, they will be unstoppable. Texas definitely can be in an ISO game where they try to win it 1-on-1. We saw great unity between Richard and Malaysia, I think, yesterday, right? I thought they had a great chemistry on the court, but I also just think that they just, everybody else was in their own world. You feel me? What are we doing here? You feel me? Now, again, I think that it's a little bit of both. I think that Texas did expose South Carolina, but I think they also caught South Carolina just not having a good night, not making shots, being loose with the basketball. That wasn't the normal South Carolina. So I think it's a little bit of both. What the F is this? Welcome to Her Court, Her Rules, King Charles. What the F? Well, this is Her Court, Her Rules. We asking the question. Welcome. Go ahead and answer in the comment section in the chat. Did Texas expose South Carolina, or did they catch them on a bad night? Excuse me, y'all. And I think it's a little bit of both. What y'all think? What y'all think? What y'all think? What y'all think Dawn think? Based on Dawn's body language, during the game based on comments she made after the game. What do y'all think's Dawn's reaction and potential adjustments going into March Madness will be? Because Dawn has 18 years under her belt coaching South Carolina Gamecocks. So she is battle tested. She's not going to let one loss define her, not as a coach, not define her legacy, not define the greatness of her players, not define the greatness of this team. So what is Dawn going to do differently? Is it rotations? Is it lineup? Is it defensive adjustments? Is it different offensive strategies to get other players involved in the game at different points of the game? South Carolina 31-3. I don't know what you're talking about. South Carolina lost in the first 3 minutes. And when Raven was on Joyce, it affected the entire game. Texas did their game plan. It was a bad night. It was a bad night. The first half absolutely went to Texas, but again, I think you're absolutely right, Jemima, and I appreciate that. The first 4 minutes, it was all Texas. It was absolutely all Texas. I mean, when you really think about it, they went 5 minutes, 6 minutes into the game before they scored 5 points. They went 6 minutes into the game before they scored 5 points. This is a Dawn Staley team here. What are we doing? We're not scoring. That's what we're doing. Texas deserved to win the game, but don't get it twisted. South Carolina going to Final Four. And I absolutely agree. You know, this Gamecocks Nation over here. You feel me? In Dawn, we trust. So I'm never plexed. We never worried about it. You feel me? We never worried about it. Definitely South Carolina is going to be in the Final Four. As a matter of fact, I think the top 4 teams all season long will be the Final 4 teams. Uconn, UCLA, Texas, South Carolina. You can flip-flop Texas, South Carolina, Texas, however you want to do it. But those are the top 4 teams, and those are teams I think that's going to be in the Final Four. I don't think there's any team 5, 6, 7, 8 or a sleeper team that's going to upset any of these teams, top 4 teams. I think we everybody playing for Elite 8. That's what everybody else playing for. All y'all play for Elite 8. We already know who's going to be in the Final Four, in my opinion. I love South Carolina, but their bigs missed too many layups and too many. Boy, if I had a dollar for every time a cop missed a layup, damn, I said, and great offensive rebound, missing the layup. I said, what are we doing? We need to do layup drills, y'all, with the pads. Push them with the pads. What are we doing? It's too late for major changes in play style at this point. You are what you are. You can't afford to make major play styles, but you can make significant adjustments, right? Significant adjustments where they kind of seem drastic. Kind of seem like drastic adjustments, right? And sometimes that means it could just means what you do, you got to do it 5% better now. Now you got to be quicker. Now you got to be quicker. Now you got to be more handsier. Now you thought you played aggressive. Now you got to double down on it. Bad night for South Carolina. Texas deserves the credit. They do. Same Final Four from last year. Facts. Absolutely. Facts about Dawn. She did have Maddie Gotti. That show they are really to be part of the March Madness. Dawn saw what she needed out of them, and the lineups will be different with substitutions. Exactly. I think Turner Bees is going to play more minutes. I think the moment where you see Joyce kind of like not being aggressive offensively or struggling to get her shot off, I think you start playing around. I don't think you move Joyce out the game. I think you move Joyce to the 5, put Medina on the bench, and bring Tornabees in there. I think you got to go ahead and start introducing her a little earlier in the game, early in that first quarter. I'm talking about 7-minute mark. Get her in there. Get that. Start stretching that offense. Come on. The problem with South Carolina is I really don't like their guards coming off the bench. I don't really think they got nothing coming off the bench. The best thing they had coming off the bench was Full Wiley, for real. She's phenomenal coming off the bench, and she could be a phenomenal starter. I just think that they don't really have that threat off the bench no more. They missing that. I think that's the biggest thing that they missing. Off topic, but that Cleveland Rockers towel you have brings me back some good old. Come on, some good old memories. Come on, Susie McConnell. Shout out to you, Pat Joseph, man. Welcome to Her Core, Her Rules, man. Let me tell y'all, my fandom for women's basketball goes back my entire life. I've always loved basketball. I've always thought, and I hate to sound like this, but I always thought that women's basketball was superior to men's in multiple ways. But I think just the competition and just the pure heart that these ladies play with on every level, right? And so I have long memories of watching my Rockers play in person, having season tickets and watching the ups and downs of that franchise and watching the success of that franchise, and then kind of seeing it poof be gone overnight. So I'm excited for 2028 for my Cleveland team to come back. I don't know what they're gonna be called yet. They ain't announced no name, but we got time. I'm excited for them to be coming back. The Cavaliers are getting a whole new training facility. I'm assuming that the Rockers, if they recall that, can use that. So it's gonna be amazing 2027, 2028 for Cleveland sports. You know what I'm saying? We got Shador Sanders, you know what I'm saying? So we trying to do something. We trying to do something, at least in the media. I love Okai, but she drive me crazy with them miss layups. I'm trying to tell you, Okai, them damn miss layups. I'm like, yo, you know what I mean? But the thing about, she's such a good rebounder. It's like, and then she's such a threat when it comes to blocking the shot. It's like, damn, do you not want her? But you're gonna have to go ahead and get Tornabees in there. We need that 6'6" jump shooter in there. Unless Joyce turn into Asia, they not winning the chip this year. For real. I don't think South Carolina ever had enough to beat UConn. Dawn is an adjustment coach, and you will see it the first game in the playoffs. Absolutely. I don't think one thing about Dawn, same thing about Gino, and as we now seeing with Texas, is that these coaches aren't scared to make the make the necessary adjustment on the fly. And it might not be an adjustment that we initially see as being the right one. But by the end of the game, you can be like, yep, exactly what they did was what they were supposed to do. South Carolina is going to miss Chloe because she can clean up what Joyce is limiting. Exactly. I mean, I guess the fact that we ain't got no Chloe Kitts is crazy. Chloe Kitts and Ashley Watkins is coming back next season, so it will help out South Carolina. Well, I hope we ain't got no word on Ashley Watkins, have we? South Carolina missing Ashley Watkins' defense and rebound and Chloe's offense, but they're back next year with Joyce, best front court in the country. Well, here's hoping UConn don't get in that transfer portal and do something crazy. If what they gonna pair up with Sarah Strong next year? Women's basketball is absolutely superior to the men's game. Bingo. Okay. Absolutely. I don't like Maddie and Raven on the court together. Tessa has struggled and Latson has been disappointing. Now, see, that's the one thing. And yeah, you're right. Dawn is a great coach. That's the one thing. Latson she's been underwhelming. And I know that her game has changed since she transferred over here, and I know that we weren't expecting her to come in and be, the highest scorer in the league anymore, but I feel like she went from being the best scorer in the entire NCAA to just being regular now, right? And I just don't know, like, why can't we find a balance? You know what I mean? And why aren't we going to her earlier in the game? Again, earlier in the game. Yes, Raven can make the threes, but they ain't her number one threat, right? So I want her, and I also want Tessa to kind of become a creator on offense as well, not just for herself, not just running off the screens so she can get free, so she can get the look. Be a creator with the basket, because if you are that much of a threat as a scorer, then you can be even a more potent threat as a passer, because people are expecting to score. Dawn already announced Chloe and Ashlyn coming back next season. Well, I appreciate y'all, because I didn't even know that. So that's good. That's good. That's good. That's what we need to see. Dawn says after the game, this might have been the very thing this team needs. It's not what I would have thought yesterday coming into today. But now that we're here, it's a reality. We search for things that have a connection and can give our team what it needs to make this run for a national championship. So based on what we saw, do we think that this team has what it takes? Do we think that this team has what it takes? Okay. Outside of UConn, no team is safe. Not just for the finals, for the conference finals, but we also talking about for March Madness. Outside of UConn, everybody can get clipped. Outside of UConn, everybody can get clipped. Okay? This is what we going up against, y'all. The legacy. Gino, Sarah, Fudd. Farrell said UConn can get clipped also. But who though? Who though? UCLA? What? South Carolina has what it takes to clip UConn. Okay? South Carolina has what it takes. Y'all saying that? South Carolina has what it takes. So the dynasty is not over. The dynasty is not over, is what y'all telling me. That's what y'all telling me. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear, y'all. That's what I like to hear. Y'all tell me on the way out. We about to wrap up this live. Y'all tell me on the way out who y'all got cutting down them nets. And if it's not UConn, what team do you think can knock off UConn and dethrone them this year, this March Madness? I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for another great episode. Y'all pull up this Wednesday at 6 p.m. We gonna do it again right here on Her Court, Her Rules. Peace and freedom. It's your girl, Naja Lee.